Hello and welcome everyone! In today's video I will explain the contents of two QuestWrite scripts for races. This is a rather long talkie about functionality, logic and such, so if you're here to learn about QuestWrite or PlayWrite in general, you will have more luck with some of the other videos in my channel. First is a look into the script for a simple race point A to point B, and that would also apply for longer rallies with point C, point D and so on. The other script after is one for the fishing loot race in the repository. That is more intricate, with auto-inviting participants, branching logic, identifying loot items and more. But first we'll have a look at the script for races with two or more stations. First is the section prequest, which any QuestWrite script has to have. In this case we have no teaser to attract players' attention. The interval is set to false and therefore the teaser text is ignored anyway. This crop tail bit is for the software not ignoring certain lines at certain times. Details can be found in the project's documentation. Because for this race, persons who want to join should be informed in advance by other means, I also disabled the reaction to a player saying the name but not having any discernible command in that line. In the next line is the first command that actually triggers a reaction, test. I'll explain the quest giver's name for a bit first. The file is named station QuestWrite, which results in the quest giver reacting to station as a name. Why that? During a race with multiple stations, start, end and maybe many in between, we don't want participants to have to type a bunch of different names every time they race by a station. So every station gets the same name, station, so only one line of say will work for the whole race no matter how many stations actually are there. Plus, the script doesn't need changing if different people are helping as race stewards. Plus, participants would need only one alias, which also means only one button in the quick bar. Okay, having a look at the first command again, test. If any player in our vicinity says station test, QuestWrite is using the communications channel direct message to send a message to the current player. That he or she has been recognized at the current time. This is for players to test aliases and proximity, it doesn't do anything else. If a player close by says station time, the script will jump or go to the section timed. The quest command Zeit is for distinguishing languages. It's sending German players messages in German, other than that it's exactly the same. Now QuestWrite was told to jump to the section timed, which starts down here. This section has an intro, as every section but prequest should have. And this is very similar to the line about which we just talked. It uses the communication channel direct message to send the current player the text recognized at QuestWrite, please insert current time here. So what's the difference? There is none but the fact that QuestWrite jumped this particular participant from one section to the other. Doing that, the timestamp of the jump is noted, and with that we have the exact time that particular player activated the station down to a second. Then after the race, have all stations export their list, import them all into a spreadsheet application together, and with that you can do all kinds of nifty analytics meant for races and rallies, the simplest being of course who raced the route in the shortest amount of time. Going to dive into the script for the fishing loot race next. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it might be better if you watch that video first, the link is in the description. Pause this video, I'll wait for you.
A few minutes later.
The section prequest again is not for more than separating the languages, so every participant gets messages in the language of his or her choosing. And again, I'm only looking at the English part here. The intro of the section preparation to where QuestWrite jumps is more interesting. Again, the player gets a direct message with information on what's going on what to do next. The command QuestWrite invite at the end actually invites the player, saying the line "Guter fishing into group." And as instructed, after accepting the invite, the player would start the timing with gutur start. The command invite reinvite is just a simple loop inviting the player again in case he or she clicked the wrong button or something. By jumping to the section started, the time when a player did that is noted and he or she gets detailed info on what to fish for exactly. The flag QuestWrite lootcheck equals true tells QuestWrite that all player commands in this section are only to be looked for in the loot messages in the log file chosen at startup, so be sure to include the filter loot fellow before starting the log file. Catfish, days, and minnow now are the three words that QuestWrite looks for whenever it identifies a loot message from that player in the chat log. And of course, QuestWrite is instructed to jump to different sections depending on the fish that was looted, because once a days was fished, it shouldn't be necessary to fish for it again. After this, there are more sections and jumps to make sure every possible combination of the three necessary fishes leads to the end, the section all caught. This one is quite simple again, it's just sending the player a direct message that he or she finished the loot race and can leave the group to make room for other players who might want to do the quest. After this, we can export the list, which includes timestamp for all participants when they started the clock and when they caught all three different fish. With that in a spreadsheet, calculate the amount of time every participant has needed and determine the fastest, et voila! That's it for today. This will be the last documentation video for PlayWrite or QuestWrite for the time being, as I have quite some dev on the software left. If you have any suggestions or questions about functionality, you are welcome to drop a note in the project's GitHub. Be safe everyone and see ya!